Gentlemen, welcome to the Interrupted Podcast, man. I'm grateful for you guys taking the time to be here today and talk a little bit about the Tangier Classic. This is now become an annual thing, I guess we could say,
Yep.
because we did an inaugural episode last
It
year.
had to have been very
And
close to the same
it was the
time frame.
ninth. I actually
Ninth.
looked it up.
Right
Yeah.
on.
So last year it was the ninth, episode 41 released, and yeah, man. No, it got a lot of hits for me, and hopefully pointed some guys to you. But man, we're gonna get into it here for everybody listening. Whether you're just tuning in on podcasts or whether you got it up on YouTube and you're actually watching us here, we're live in the studio. I think I've only done really a handful here in the studio, so it's good when we can have people actually here and face to face. It makes the conversation a little more, a little better, I think. So, all in all, thank you guys again.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you,
doing
man.
this.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
So, would you just take a minute, introduce yourself, and kind of what your role is in the Tangier Classic, and then Brad, we got to hear a little bit about kind of your background and story of growing up on the shore here, and your connection to the outdoors, and I'd love if you would share as well, man. And
Sure.
we'll roll. So yeah, just take a second to introduce yourselves to the audience.
I'm Brad Taylor. I'm the president of Tangier Classic. Like you said, I grew up on the shore and hunting and fishing my whole life. I won't get into too much detail. We did all that last year, but yep, I'm love doing it. So
Right on, man. Now it's looking to be another good year. Hopefully this weather helps
Yeah.
you guys
Oh,
out. We
yeah.
were talking a little bit
Oh, yeah,
offline.
for
It's
sure.
hopefully fixing to be something real
cooling
good.
off at the right time, I think.
sir.
So.
I like it. So yeah, man. Tell us a little bit about
All right,
what you
cool,
got.
man. Adam Corry. I'm the secretary of the Tangier Classic, and proud to be involved with it. Obviously, man, this is year number 4, and it's really we're living a dream with this thing. I'm telling you, no doubt. So yeah, man, born and raised on the Eastern Shore. All my family's going back to way back, Somerset County. Great, whatever. Skipjack builders. So
Right
hunting.
on.
Oh yeah. Sigsbee Noble, man. The Sigsbee
Dang.
that is currently in the Baltimore Inner Harbor, used by the Living Classroom Foundation. His father, Worth Noble, built that. So that's kind of where my legacy comes from the Eastern Shore, and born and raised hunting and fishing, man. And we have our family runs and operates a Christmas tree farm in Delmar, and all my kids, that's what they've done their whole coming up. So
Right on. Was it always just kind of, hey, whatever season's in, man, is
yeah,
what you go
yeah.
after?
Or whatever my grandfather got. My grandfather was kind of my hero, man, and it was all about whatever Pop said was the best thing to do that time of year. And then once he got to the point he didn't want to go all the time, I kind of learned what to do on my own, I guess.
Good deal.
It was
And
before the internet, so,
was there anything before the internet?
a lot of stuff.
Probably a lot better stuff.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, that's good. But
Yeah.
what you said your grandfather, but how old were you when you kind of got an introduction to anything in the outdoors? What was it, fishing first? or
Before,
was it
I would say
hunting, or-
fishing, and before I can even have my first memory. I mean, there's pictures, and it's funny, man. He had a 1971 21-foot riveted hull aluminum Starcraft with a 100th anniversary 4-cylinder 100 horsepower, and man, that boat was cool. It was cool. He used to run into the jack spot, and of course, at the jack spot back then, early 70s, you could still get into some monster game fish at the jack spot. So he would do that. He'd load extra fuel up and stuff. But I mean, there's pictures in my mom's basement of me when
Yeah.
I can't even remember being that young, being with Papa. So
Yeah, it was just
Just-
lifestyle.
Yeah,
It
man.
is what you lived, man.
so many people share that story here, just
Yeah.
growing up like that, and just it's part of life.
Yeah,
Can't
well,
live
I
without
think that's what makes it such a rich area for those things. It's I tell people all the time. Maybe I shouldn't tell them, but I mean the shore is a hidden secret. It truly is.
For anybody not from the Eastern Shore listening right now, disregard.
Everything's yeah, stay away.
Yeah.
No, but it is. I mean, when, any type of game, the outdoors. I mean, feel very fortunate. And I think it's a lot just because like everything else in Maryland. When people hear Maryland, they think
Oh, yeah.
D.C., Baltimore, and
Oh, yeah.
or the mountains out
Crab
west.
cakes and
So,
football, nothing else. And yeah, it's
that's right.
crazy, man. Because you think about it, how many the coasts are really where you have this dynamic of being able to freshwater fish in the morning, salt in the afternoon. You can hit dove hunting right now, one part of the day, and then go hit a late evening topwater bite. You could turkey hunt in the AM, do something else outdoors, whether it be, there's just so many options, man.
Yeah.
You think about that, coastal Carolina, southeast Alaska, similar situations. and Florida, for example. But I don't want to go to Florida; it's too hot.
That's a lot of heat down there.
Yeah.
So, what's your preference, man? Like in the fishing world, do you like being inshore? Do you like going off?
All right, I can't. And right in front of Brad, I don't want to. Yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, I've been offshore fishing. I've been very blessed to be able to go a few times before really meeting Brad, and Brad really took me and my son Jonah on some of the most epic trips. I think just God being involved in it, just putting us on something that was amazing.
He's definitely the good luck charm.
He is, man. He's got a horseshoe for no doubt. But yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I think if I was able to do that every day, I would prefer to do that every day. But I love being in the shallows, in the marsh, in the fall.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, dude. I'm a rockfish fiend. I love it. Love them. I love them.
Yeah.
And been kayak fishing for a long, long time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, 20 plus years, man, in the kayak. So I really only just here and a couple of weeks ago bought a boat again.
Now he's ready to sell the kayak.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
You're
Not
going to
sell
have
the
to take
kayaks.
him now that he brought that monstrosity. Can you even take that thing inshore?
Yes, that's right.
It's a little tougher.
He's gonna actually bring it down to the tournament next week, and
right
try to hit it in the shallows.
Okay.
see if the draft really. No.
I'd like to see that.
Luckily, I still have my own little boat that
Okay, you can still
not
get around.
not real little. It's still tough sometimes in the shallows, but it's doable.
Yeah.
So.
Cool, right on. Well, you brought it up there a minute ago. What's it been like for you as a dad introducing kids?
Man,
what's that experience?
That's
been
the
like?
best in the world, and I know Brad's experiencing it right now with William, and
Yep.
William's very young. I mean, what, he's 3, right?
Just turned 3. Yeah.
Just turned 3 last week. So whether it was fishing or hunting, man, taking the kids, even if it was just on a Sunday afternoon to put out corn or just to take a walk in the woods. I mean, it's what my grandfather did with me when I was that age. And it's just, man, they get addicted to it. They get hooked on it. You get to perpetuate and continue that lifestyle that a lot of people don't get to experience. And I think there's no greater enjoyment that you can have of creation than to be out there and not only be a steward of it, but to enjoy and reap the benefits of being able to, take game and fish and harvest. And man, I'll tell you what, that's been one of the coolest parts about being a father. And there's no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, introducing anybody to something in the outdoors is watching them kind of come alive.
Oh yeah.
When not only in success. I mean, success is important with introducing people to anything, but just how someone experiences life is pretty phenomenal. As a question I get a lot is, how do we make that transition from when we're introducing kids and all the ponds around here, and how does somebody get into actually, I mean, you have the issue of a boat when you're talking getting onto bigger water and things, but I mean, there are places you can be on the shore and fish, and getting into those bigger game fish. When you think about that, how would you talk someone through that process? Be like, look, man, like, I didn't grow up with a grandfather showing me that. I didn't do this. I don't have X. Because access is always a problem with the outdoors, right? Having that mentor guide you into it. I would say, and maybe you can get into this in a transition, experiencing something like a fishing tournament where you have so many experts out there.
It's kind of funny you said. We actually did another podcast recently, and one of the people, they had live questions, and one of the people had asked, I don't remember the exact question, but they were concerned about coming to a tournament being unexperienced.
And
things like that. And I think people do look at it that way, but it doesn't have to be that way. We have some very talented people in this tournament, but we also have some people that are new to it. So it kind of covers all aspects, and there's really no need to feel overwhelmed or whatever the word would be. But as far as like how you go from crappie fishing to bull reds, I think it's different for everybody.
Well, isn't it the gateway drug situation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so you talk about bluegills, right? I mean, I can't remember who said it to me one time. They're like, bluegills are the gateway fish to everything else.
I like it, yeah.
So you got a worm underneath a bobber at 3 years old, and you catch. Forget about William. I don't know what his is going to be because his gateway fish is mahi right now.
Yeah, goodness.
So, but yeah, I mean that's really what it is. Just building upon those consecutive events in the outdoors that just continue to, just build your drive to want to go out there and do more of it. But Brad's got a point about like our tournament, and I think it's a broader point too for the outdoors and sportsmen and sportswomen being involved in it, is just passing along the passion with compassion, right? So, for example, like, the guy that had set up the question, hey, man, I'm a little concerned. I'm not an experienced angler. Whether that was a 42-year-old man that had never fished a tournament or a 14-year-old kid that has only fished for bluegill, being able to be around other sportsmen and anglers that are willing to show and give their time and make them feel comfortable.
Sure.
And a lot of times they probably don't even realize that a lot of the same stuff will transition.
Oh, sure, for sure.
So if you've been a bass fisherman your whole life, it's almost the same stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're very similar lures, very similar strategies and stuff like that. So, I think a lot of people are self-taught. Some people, obviously, they might have a friend that does the saltwater thing, and they see them bass fishing, like, hey, why don't you come with me one day? And it just kind of mushrooms from there. But like I said, I think it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, some tight bonds are really built getting out on the water and asking the questions. I even imagine in a tournament like this, I mean, you're pulling so many people. Yeah, you might have those guys that are tight on their spots and just want to go do their thing. But overall, I would say there's probably a lot of people there. If you ask an earnest question, they're going to want to see you have success.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot just all across the board.
Sure.
And I think even the guys that don't want to give their spots up, they're still going to say, hey, try using this. Look for these conditions. They're not going to say, fish over here,
Sure.
but they're still going to give you some pointers for the most part. So
yeah, no, right on. Well, would you guys, whoever wants to share, just take us through a little bit again? I know we talked about last year, but it's important for people to hear just kind of the genesis of the Classic and where it originated and why it originated. I think is really important to the story. Can you just, one of you guys or both of you, just
Brad,
kind of give an overview of that?
Brad's the custodian of the origin story. So
all right. You don't want to hijack that.
Yeah, no doubt.
We had been involved in a couple other deals. We grew up fishing tournaments, West Side Outcasters, and I didn't, but maybe the Talls tournament, some other stuff like that. I'd fished a couple in Ocean City. And then we got involved with another tournament that has since gone by the way. Well, has not. They're not here anymore. They're across the bay. So when they moved out, we kind of like put our heads together and we're brainstorming. We'd already kind of been throwing it around anyways about doing our own thing, but the opportunity kind of opened up for us to come in and to start our own tournament. And we were just kind of trying to figure out the best way to get people there and to help the community and things like that. And we decided that what better way than to pick a kid each year to benefit. And it just kind of blew up from there.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly, a little bit quicker than we probably imagined. The first year we hoped that we would break 100 people, and I think we had 230 or something. So, we've grown, I don't know the percentage, but
It's exponential.
a pretty good amount each year.
Sponsorship and all that.
Yeah, sponsorship is, I'm not sure the exact number, but we've got to be in the 120s for number of sponsors this year. So it's just kind of, it started out as an idea like, hey, let's do our own tournament. And, I don't know. It just kind of came out of that. And we had a few meetings, and we kept coming up with ideas, and it's still the same idea. We have a meeting. We're like, hey, we should try this, and we just keep building on it year after year. Even we're still thinking of ideas that we should have done this year.
Yeah,
it's like,
Sure.
It's never good enough, I guess. Maybe that's not the best way to say that.
I think you're right. I think we self-critique, and one of
we
the
try to
biggest
offer
things,
an experience,
exactly,
not just a fishing tournament, but
Yep.
we want it to be a full. We want you to remember things other than the day of fishing,
Right.
I guess.
Yeah.
So
It's a very, very good point. We were talking about this today, going over a couple of items, like last-minute checklist items, and it's
Sure.
like it's part of the show. And really, that's what we're putting on, an experience.
Yeah.
It's not just going out and fishing and get your line wet and coming back and weighing a fish, blah, blah, blah. It's the cornhole tournament, the food, the camaraderie, the fellowship, the sunsets, the live music, the raffles, the auctions, all that stuff. That's really, at the end of the day, people might remember. All right, I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of school, but if you asked most of the people that fished our tournament last year, by memory, what were the largest fish species and what were their approximate inches?
I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you. But do you remember what it was like on Friday night when so and so, and we had the live music playing on Saturday, and so how was the chicken? That's the kind of stuff people walk away from, and frankly, that's what makes people come back.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't have a huge amount of success on the winner's podium, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
it's the experience with the people, not the fish as much.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
what it really
And ultimately, we want it to be something that people come to our events at night, whether they're fishing or not.
Right.
Just come down to have a good time. Like you said, live music and good food and cornhole tournament.
Right.
I don't think really anybody that competed in the cornhole actually fished the tournament.
No.
It was all
Last year
all
was just-
separate people. Because on Friday night everybody's kind of getting ready for fishing, and it's honestly almost an entirely different crowd. Saturday night, I would say most people are anglers and their families, but we would like to see it expand to just be whoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and to touch on that a little bit more, we're trying to expand more than just a fishing tournament. But you may know we've gotten a big chicken cooker. We're doing outside events now to raise money for other things, I guess, and we're trying to become more of like just a community organization rather than just a fishing tournament.
Yeah.
So
Tangier Classic Catering.com.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. We haven't created that yet, but I mean, it's part. And I don't say yet. I'm just kidding, but it's a big part of it. We're broadening our horizons as an organization, and
it's a staple. It's a shore staple. It's like, when you're on the shore, you think outdoors. You want that to be. It's like when people hear about this area, they think White Marlin Open, right? That's something that it brings to that community specifically down there, and to have, an event like this that is far-reaching, and to pull people into it, and then also the legacy for the shore, right? Even revitalizing a town like Crisfield and things like that is really.
We got word that the campground Jane's Island's been sold out for a long time. I'm not saying it's all from us.
No,
but I think I like to think we have a play in that.
Yeah, I would absolutely think so.
And all the campsites at the American Legion are sold out. I know the motel,
Airbnbs have been gone for a while. Yeah.
Yep. The motel down there, Hitesh Patel Roadway.
Okay.
I know he's got quite a few rooms booked, and there are still some available for anybody that's looking for a room to stay. But
there you go.
I think it's taking some time, but I think we're getting to the point where we're starting to draw people down there in a significant number. So,
yeah. What does success look like for you guys when you do an after action and say what at the end of the day, what can you sit around and say, yeah, man, this was a good year. Like, this is what we set out. What does success look like for the Classic?
I personally would say it's not so much the number of fishermen as much as obviously sponsors play a huge role. So most of our time is put towards getting sponsors. And I know it seems crazy. Why would you need 120 some sponsors? Well, because they make up the vast majority of the donation, and also pay for us to run this tournament. I mean, things are expensive these days, and down to lights, and I mean, just everything is pretty significant. So when you got sponsors that are donating lights that you don't have to pay for, it saves you $1,500 for the weekend. Success to me is raising the money. It's not necessarily how many people fish. Obviously, we'd love to have 1,000 people there, but I think success is being able to hit our goal for our donation, which we've honestly exceeded each year.
Yeah.
So that would be, for me, what success would be.
Yeah, for sure. I echo that, and I'd add in there the customer experience. And I don't mean to take anything away from anybody involved by saying customer, but I kind of feel like that is part of it. We're giving them something for their dollars and their time.
Yeah.
So whether it's a sponsor getting the acknowledgement for being a part of this in the community, whether it be a social media post, a video, a banner ad, whatever the case is, we take pride in what we put out there for the community to digest. And then the anglers. I mean, and people may not even think about it that actually fish our tournament, but they're part of that, right?
Yeah.
Their dollars coming into registration are going to our beneficiary.
Yeah, 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's something to be said for a highly produced event, right? Because it is all about the experience then, right? We say like when you can manufacture something where the logistics are handled, that someone can come and truly enjoy, that they're not frustrated about registration, and not frustrated about a line or the boat ramps, or you're always going to have things, but in general, you want people walking away and be like, man, that was smooth.
Yeah, and actually that's probably the best sign of success, is that people had a good time.
Yep.
There were not. I mean, there's always going to be complaints. It's just
sometimes.
nature.
Yeah.
But that probably, obviously sponsorship and the number of people that come and participate. But as long as everybody left happy, if it's a little bit less people this year than it was last year, that's not a huge concern for us. It's how it ran, and the being able to donate our goal. The number that we have set in mind is definitely a big part of it.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll tell you, like the donations, our beneficiary, that's a large donation, and then we donate to local other nonprofits, Fraternal Order, Police, EMS, Fire, EMT, Crisfield Area Chamber of Commerce, a couple of the list goes on and on, Ocean City Reef Foundation, you name it.
Technicality there, we still have the check.
What's
he does
that?
know it's coming, but we still have the check.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He does know it's coming. But yeah, I mean, so the coolest thing about it is the interactions we have with the people that are at the tournament, and then you talk to people a month later, 2 months later, and like, how you doing? Are you going to see us next year? Oh man, I wouldn't miss it for the world. Or I've already, or they say 2 months after the tournament, I've already booked my hotel for next year, or my James Island campground, or whatever.
Yeah, one of the things I like the most, and I know it sounds probably tacky, but like the 2 or 3 days after, seeing everybody's reflection post on Facebook and Instagram, and they usually, it seems like they always have like a long story with pictures to go along with it, and it's kind of cool to see that and see that they had a good time, and they're willing to put that out publicly for others to see.
Yeah.
It feels good.
Yeah. It has to. Yeah. No, absolutely. What'd you learn from last year? Like going into this year, we're going to talk logistics here in a few minutes, but what'd you learn? What'd you be like, hey guys, next year we're gonna hit this? And
what did we learn? We have to buy a chicken cooker.
Yeah, yeah, that was almost a fiasco.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, working a problem.
Yeah.
That's
obviously that was a big purchase, and it was not an easy one to swallow. But we also realized that we had gotten to the point where doing it on 4 Traegers and something borrowed is just not really the long-term solution. And so we ended up buying that and quickly determined that we were going to have these other events to supplement the cost of it and eventually raise even more money. Obviously, there's always some rule changes. People find loopholes and things like that. And, clarifying rules so they're easier to understand. So we always have some modifications there, and modifying the format a little bit so that there's not one simple way to win, and kind of keep things moving, changing a little bit to keep people on their toes. Overall, though, I honestly think last year was pretty smooth. Judging is always a big hurdle because it's, I don't even know. Lindsay and Leslie would have to
tons of submissions,
thousands, thousands of submissions. So it's hard to keep up on it and keep it current. And they did an excellent job last year. I think everything was wrapped up by the time the tournament ended. But even still, there's things that can be changed. So we've added some new ways to keep logs, and they're going to be down at the Legion a little earlier, set up on site, and just stuff like that. Nothing major. But there's always going to be some stuff to tweak.
Yeah. Now, and do you have, this is more on the logistics side, but do you have a way that people can give feedback to you guys and be like, hey, man, we'd like to see something like this? Or
so previous years we've sent out like a survey
right on.
To our anglers to see what their opinions are. We've definitely used that to gather those metrics and determine what's the best course of action moving forward. So
I think that slipped through the cracks last year. But usually if anybody's too upset about something, they'll shoot us an email or something like that.
Well, you got to speak up, right?
No doubt.
And
we welcome it. Yeah,
sure.
So it's always good to hear, some of the stuff we obviously can't accommodate everything, but we try to do as much as we
Yeah,
can.
but you guys are actually looking at it to improve an experience
of
if it
course,
can be
for sure.
improved, and
Absolutely.
that's what I kind of want to hear people, or want people to understand. I even got that from our conversation last year. It's like, hey,
Yep.
this is about providing this for you all, and if it's something out there that can make it better,
Yeah.
by all means,
Yep,
like,
definitely.
let us know.
Yeah, we want to have fun doing it too. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
seriously. So
yeah.
it's not a whole lot of fun if you're not making everybody else have a good time. It's like, all right, am I having a good time? But when people are happy, when they're smiling, when their bellies are full, they're man, it's a great tournament. It's great. How many fish did you catch today? I didn't catch a thing. You
But
know
I'm
what I
glad
mean?
to be here,
Yep,
man.
exactly. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that-
the less stressed out our fishermen are, as far as the process,
Uh-huh.
the less stressed out we're going to be.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good perspective
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, before we talk logistics and how people can be involved with this, what's the fishing report looking like? So what we're literally about a week out here.
Yep, pretty much exactly a week.
When this drops, you're going to only have a few days to jump on board. But
I'm
what's
somewhat
the
out
report?
of touch on this side of the world
So
this time of year.
the water temperatures in the shallows are definitely starting to go in the right direction. Just this past weekend, I saw quite a bit of bait where it should be,
Okay.
but those predators aren't there just yet because that water temperature's got to come
What are
down.
we looking for target
Well,
water temperature?
A week and a half, 2 weeks ago, you were still up in the high I don't say high 80s, but 86-degree water temperature in 2 feet, 2.5 feet. You're not going to have your fish hanging out in that ready and being very active. So once that stuff starts to get down below 75 degrees, then you really start to kick into high gear.
Okay.
And then as it gets closer to 69 or so,
And it happens pretty
very
quick.
quickly. Once
Okay.
that marsh calms down,
Yeah.
the water comes up into it.
These
It,
cool
and it
evenings.
releases its latent energy. It's going to go back out with the tide flush, and it's coming, man. There's no doubt about it. But
That rain helped.
oh my lord, yes.
I'm sure it made the water terrible,
A little
but
clarity.
but it'll cool things down
Without a
quick.
doubt.
So,
But people are still relatively consistently banging away at reds in certain places. I haven't heard much about a Kobe being caught here lately, but I think there's been a few
I mean I know way south,
way south.
but yeah, I'm not sure about
But
up
folks
here.
are still finding bluefish. They're still finding some Spanish Max around.
Actually, I did see a few guys caught some really nice specks last weekend.
Oh yeah, that's
Now
true.
I'm not sure exactly where they were, but I
Yeah.
know that they're at least somewhat close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we might actually be a little better off this year. I think it was hotter. Now it was hot 2 weeks ago, but I think
Yes.
this rain and this cool down, and it's been in the 60s at night. I think we're setting up just at the right
Oh,
time.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's the primary bait right now? A lot of these game fish are looking for in the shallows.
Well, once they get up into the shallows, I mean, you should be having your crabs having their last slough off. You had the last major moon, right? So may or may not. I don't know exactly how many more. I guess I could have one more maybe. But they're going to eat after them. You're going to have peanut bunker. Obviously, there's mama chug. There's bay anchovies, although they don't come up into the shallows all that often. Obviously, the shrimp.
Yeah, I would say increasing amounts of shrimp
Yeah.
the last
Okay.
couple of years.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Were they
yeah.
brown shrimp?
I
I think they're. I'm trying to think of the exact species they are. I think they refer to them as Atlantic brown shrimp. But anyway, there's been a lot more of those in the past 4 or 5 years.
yeah. I know last fall I had them popping all over the place.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
So yeah.
So
Good deal. All right. I'm a 30-year-old. I got my two youngsters in the boat. I'm going out. This is my first time in the Tangier Classic. What do I put on my line? What kind of rod do I need? I want to go out there and have a good time.
Sure.
And I don't know how to fish.
All right.
For this, other than throwing my bobber in with a bloodworm on it.
Keep
Or
it
nightcrawler.
super simple. You
Yep.
can't go wrong with a top and bottom rig with a 1 ounce, 2 ounce weight.
Yep.
Some hooks. Now
number four hook or
you got to pay attention to Maryland's rules now
Yep.
because the circle hook thing
that
gets,
depends. Yeah, now that depends on if you're chunking without weight or live lining, non-offset circle hook.
Yeah, so I think cut bait's still J hooks, right?
Just cut bait on a rig with a sinker of some sort. You can still go with the J hook.
Right.
But if
And,
you're weightless, you got to use the circle
Rod
hook.
is less important doing that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Snoopy
Can't-
still catches them, right?
Yep, can't go wrong with an ugly stick or something like that from Walmart. I mean,
Sure.
it'll
Don't let the equipment keep you from coming down.
No,
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 uh-uh. Yep.
Like you don't. It's not like going offshore where you need
Right.
something crazy.
My grandfather pulled fish over the rail like nobody's business, to the point that people would get mad and never go fishing with him again. And he was so proud. I'll never forget. He was so proud of a Shakespeare Alpha
There you go.
that he paid $32.95 for when Walmart North first opened.
Wow.
And he was proud of that rod. And it's like, all right, Papa,
Yeah, you can pick up some great combos. For not a whole lot.
No,
And like I said, top and bottom with a weight and some if you can find them crabs, and it's getting increasingly harder.
It
but
is. Bloodworm, squid, clam,
yep.
shrimp.
Or you can always do
Gas lures.
Yep, any kind of lure, popper or jig head with a swim shad, or honestly, largemouth baits. I mean, a lot of them will transfer over.
What color am I putting on this year?
Well, the water's dark. Go dark.
I like it.
Water's close. Chartreuse. If it ain't chartreuse, there's no use.
Yep,
You'll
can't
see.
go wrong with chartreuse and white.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. Pink is always pretty good.
Or if you can really,
Honestly, if they're there and they're hungry,
they're gonna eat.
doesn't really matter.
Yeah. What am I looking for, like, for water depth and the bottom? And do I want grass, no grass, sand, muck? Like, do I want to see debris, low tide, high tide, slack tide?
Structure's always good.
Yep.
Water movement in general.
Prominent marsh points.
Depending where you're at, the outgoing a lot of times is the better.
Okay.
Certain species like the incoming better, but getting a little more technical there.
Yeah.
If you got water movement off a point, some kind of structure, a grass flat, a deep hole on a turn, depth varies by the time of the day.
Yeah.
Deeper later in the day, or in the middle of the day, I should say. Shallower in the evening, in the morning.
I just look for those conveyor belt setups, right?
Yeah.
It's just conveyor belt of water moving around something where it's high velocity to lower velocity. There's a little bit of a break, a little bit of a stiller water. Fish are lazy sometimes. They're going to sit there and wait. Oh, look, there's a snack. Boom, I'm going to come out and get it.
Yeah. So how do you attack something like that? So a lot of times when I'm out, I'm looking for that little gut that on an outgoing tide.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's just there's just all kinds of good stuff to getting dumped in the water right there.
Spilling water, man.
And it's good. But like if I think about like a little point and how that water comes around, you have that still water, you have that fast moving water.
Right.
How do you approach something like that when I'm maybe throwing a lure out there?
Cautiously.
And do I want to throw beyond it? Do I want to throw in the fast moving water? Maybe not.
So
how do you guys approach?
When I visualize it, and now this is coming from me that kayak fishing, and it's a lot easier for me.
It's
to boat
funny
position.
how much it differs.
Yeah.
Like if he comes with me, he's wanting to do totally different things than what I do, and it all works.
It does. If the fish are there, they're going to bite. I always try to visualize the bait is trying to escape with the tide, and it's getting caught up in the velocity of that current around that corner, where the fish is going to be very most likely to be sitting there watching it come by him. So in that scenario, the point's here, water's ripping around it. I'm going to cast up past. Now, striped bass especially because of the way they feed, but going up past that point, coming around that current. And just like he's trying to, oh, look, I found some safe, still water. Boom, I'm dead. I just became a snack. So that's the way I kind of try to envision it.
Yeah.
But like Brad said,
it also depends on the species too. Like he's saying, rock. Sometimes you got to throw it on the bank just about.
Right.
And if you can get on that grass and just barely twitch it in so it falls into the water and get hit instantly.
Exactly.
Where a trout is a lot of times
Different.
a lot further off the bank. Still in the same, still in that same eddy or the current, whatever you want to call it, but just in a slightly different location, a little deeper water.
Or they're ambushing those open sand spots in a grass bed, where let's try to get the bait. You got this big grass bed, and then there's an area of the space where here on your carpet where you get your bait into that, and they're lurking on the outsides in that grass, and you just get your bait to come into that area. Maybe he feels like he's taking a little bit of a break, and that's it.
There he is.
Dead.
That's good, man.
Maybe think like a fish. I don't know.
Some people don't want to be in the water, I guess.
Yeah, man.
It all comes back down to moving water,
and
structure.
Exactly.
And clear water.
Right.
The clearer water that you can find, the better. So.
Okay.
Especially for trout.
Good.
Yeah.
No, and I'm asking this stuff in mind of that guy out there that wants to find success and just hasn't done it, and that's an important person to speak to for sure. Now, in terms of like the information you guys collect, are you able to take advantage of like some metrics of like when people submit their length, like maybe the water depth they're pulling from, or the water temperatures,
So
overcast, sun. Those are
known
kind of
fact.
cool little
Yeah.
side study. I'm just
Little known fact: we take everybody that wins, we take their data off their phone, and then we sell it on the black market. No.
Do you work for Google?
Yeah, man. No. But we really don't collect data from anybody. We
Try
do
to be
collect,
as non-intrusive as possible.
Yeah,
Right.
well, and that's
When you tell somebody you're submitting pictures over the phone,
Right.
instantly throw their guard up. Like,
Yep.
what information are you getting?
Yeah, for our tournament, you got to have your metadata turned on. That's just so we can say,
Check the
okay,
picture.
yeah, you didn't go 3 miles out to the EEZ and try to submit a 30-inch mahi-mahi, which is not eligible. But yeah, that's really the only reason that we track. Now, as far as data collection is concerned, from a conservation standpoint and game management standpoint, we do submit our information to Maryland Department of the Environment on the species caught and the numbers caught. Now, we have through our
So they require us to do rockfish, but we actually,
right.
because of where we're putting everything on a spreadsheet, we send them everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they love us for it. So
I'm sure
They like it.
what they're doing with it, I'm not sure, but hopefully something, because it is. It's thousands.
But you're
Yes.
doing your part.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
doing your part.
I think it's good data for them to have.
Oh yeah,
As a
definitely.
scientist, I can tell you, the more data I can have, the better I can.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. It's like even a lot of those like just simple metrics. I think from the deer hunting perspective, it's like I have my little hunting journal, and I'm always taking notes of like what conditions are and where success was, where success wasn't. Just thinking through that. But as folks have questions that come up, whether it be related to a specific tackle they can use or regulations, distances, just even the different bodies of water they're in. Do you guys have is DNR on site for you guys down there to help? Do they ever stop in?
I mean, DNR has been very helpful with us. I'll give a shout out to Eric. I can never pronounce his last name.
Starts with a Z.
Eric
That's all I
Z.
got.
That's all.
That's good. That's good.
I sent him an email
He
this
probably
week.
knows who he
telling
is.
me,
Yeah.
But they've been great working with us, especially for getting our permit, because that's a big deal, man. We haven't had them down there in Crisfield. I'd love for them to come to get something to eat, for sure.
Yeah, technically, I guess we kind of have Gina. But
Oh, well,
she's not
yeah,
there working.
Yeah. She's been down there competing.
Yeah,
for
no
sure.
doubt, no doubt. So
But yeah, I'm thinking about it for real quick. So as far as other data that we have available for our anglers on our app, Lindsay Mason put together the coolest app. It's got everything: weather, tides, navigational buoy stuff for the interactive buoys.
that's awesome. Yeah, one-stop shop.
All our
kinda.
rules are right there. So somebody, even our rule book, it's
All
got,
the regulations on
Yep.
fish.
for Virginia and Maryland, creel
Okay,
limits,
great.
all that stuff.
So-
Yeah, so just to go back to the person that's not done it much. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna catch a fish, and
Not
I don't
know what it
know
is.
I don't know how
Right.
big it can be, or what, it's right on the app,
Yep.
which they're gonna be using anyways. So
Yeah, you don't have to go searching for Maryland regs like on a
Right.
different platform.
Right.
You can use your platform
Right.
to be able to find that
Exactly.
that central kind of location. Well, cool. So what's the process? So hey, I want to get out there. How do I start the process, and what does it look like? And I mean even down to the detail, because going into a tournament for somebody that doesn't do it a lot can be overwhelming. Like, I'm about to step into this. Like, where do I register? How do I register? Do I need to check in somewhere? Is there a time I can, like, all of those
Sure.
logistics that you guys have thought through? Can you just walk somebody through? Hey, this is what you need if you want to come be a part of this thing on the water. Let's start there, because there's the element that you
Right.
can just be a part of it in different ways.
Yep.
But if you want to be out in the water fishing, what do you need to do?
So you actually have it pulled up right now on the website. It's click register now, and it's really just kind of follow the prompts from there. It looks very similar on our app. Those are the two. Well, actually, there's 3 ways. So those are the 2 ways we prefer you to register. We do take registrations all the way through our last captain's meeting. We have meetings starting Monday at
Oh Lord,
7.
test my memory.
And that'll be the 19th.
Correct. So we got
September 19th.
one at 7:00 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday are at the Salisbury Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 111.
Yep.
On, can't think of the name of the street, but
It's on our website
Yep.
and Facebook page. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So you have these captains now. Does
Yeah.
every angler have to attend that?
We want one from each team at least. The
Okay.
more the better, just because it is a little bit more involved than some of your other tournaments where you just catch a fish and take it to be weighed.
Correct.
We do allow fish that aren't Maryland legal, I guess you could say. So
Okay.
they have to be catch, photo, release. That would be like a bull red drum over 27 inches. We're able to use those fish in our tournament because it is a
just photo.
photo tournament. So we don't want people seeing that that's an eligible species and then putting it in their boat.
I'm fishing a tournament, so I killed this 40-inch red.
So
Right.
the more people that can come and understand the ins and outs, the better.
Yeah.
But we only require one person.
Right.
But yeah, the meetings are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Salisbury, and then on Thursday it's at the Crisfield American Legion, Post 16 on Lori Quinn Drive.
You got that one.
So that yeah,
Can't
I better
forget
know
that
that
one.
one. Yeah.
No, and I mean that's going to be the place that you need to be. And I'm seeing, just looking at this registration, that you can be in a boat. You can sign up as a kayak,
Yep.
and it looks like here a little discount for the kids getting out there.
That's right.
So under 14. Right.
Now the
on.
powerboat things that are a little bit different this year. It used to be $65 an entry
Okay.
per person straight. Didn't matter if you were kayak or boat, and then kids have always been 35. But this year, to simplify things, because people did get kind of confused, we made it powerboat was a team.
Okay.
So that's anywhere from 1 person to 5 people. So if you got a team of 3 people that you fish with every year, you don't have to have each person individually register now. 1 person can register, and then you guys handle the back end of it. As far as the Calcuttas go, they're a little bit different as well. We basically base the team price off of 3 people as our average per team.
Right.
So if you have more people, it's actually a little cheaper than
And
it
your
used to be.
benefit.
Okay.
And if you're fishing by yourself, obviously it's unfortunately a little bit more expensive. Go find some buddies.
No friends.
Yeah. Kayaks, I think, pretty comparable to before.
They're always going to be by themselves.
So
Yeah.
you have, do you have any stand-up paddle boarders out there?
We do.
We do.
Well,
Yeah.
Really?
we did.
Yeah.
So we had one, but he used a motor, and,
okay.
and which we allowed. But I'm not sure if he's entered this year or not.
Okay. That's cool.
but yeah,
In the
he's been-
powerboat division.
Right. Yep. He fishes the powerboat division, which more power to him.
Yeah, literally, yeah. No,
but yep.
that's awesome. Okay, so they get on here, they register. Can they expect when they register to get an
Yep.
email or anything that
So,
gets
yeah,
pushed out?
In previous years, once you did that, you would pay right away. It just created issues because people will register not fully understanding. Then we have to refund them money and everything else. So now this year, we're having people go through the registration process.
Yep.
It submits it to us. We review it. If we have any questions, we ask, make the clarifications and changes, and then send an invoice.
Okay.
And that will be through Square. They can pay with a credit card or whatever. PayPal, I think, maybe. Maybe not PayPal. I'm not sure. That's not our end of the,
Yeah, I don't
the
handle
business.
I cook and clean up.
Good
Yep.
deal.
But yeah, there's it'll be an electronic invoice. It's very simple. All your Calcuttas and your boat entry will all or kayak entry will all be on that same invoice.
Cool. So
Yep.
your expense really falls in. Make sure you have your appropriate licenses for the state of Maryland or
Right.
Virginia.
And Virginia does require some additional
Or
permits.
you have to have your Virginia Fisherman's
what,
Identification
MRIP or
number,
whatever.
your VFIN or whatever
VFIN,
it is.
that's what-
VFIN, and do they make you if you're not targeting them for the cobia thing they
If
have
you're
down
targeting,
there?
you got to have the cobia permit or whatever it is. Or,
Yeah.
I think, and for Maryland too, right?
Yeah, I think Maryland started it too.
Yeah, this year.
So I know the last year I'd submit some.
And of course,
because we were
cobia is
out
going to be
targeting.
closed during our tournament, but you can still submit a photograph of a
you
cobia.
catch one,
right.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
Yep.
fishing.
yeah.
You never know what you could come across.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're registered. Do they have to report to a certain area on the day of the tournament?
No. So the way we do our tournament structure is that you are going to declare your lay day because we're a 3-day tournament. You do have to declare one lay day. You do that through the app as well. If you're in the powerboat division, you have 3 counties to launch from: Wicomico, Somerset, Accomack County, Virginia. We do have one boat ramp that serves the Pocomoke River. That's the Rehoboth ramp, right? Shelltown, Rehoboth. It comes
think
out
it's
into
Shelltown.
Pocomoke Sound. Either way,
Yeah.
it's in the rule book. It's just one that's on that other side. Because people always ask, well, about Worcester County. Well, yeah, it is one in Worcester County, but it does not serve the coastal side.
Yep. So Wicomico Somerset, Worcester, and Accomack.
Correct.
For boats. Kayaks can launch anywhere.
Anywhere in the bay.
So yeah, you don't have to check in. I mean,
Captain's
either way,
meetings, but that's
one of the 4 nights for captain's meeting. And if somebody absolutely cannot make it because they're across the bridge, or
we just need an email come from them requesting that they have and we
have some ways to
previously
work with that.
Yeah, we can work with them.
Yeah. Obviously, we try to
avoid it,
limit that as much as possible.
Sure.
But we're gonna have to either approve your measuring device that you have already, or give you the official measuring device. So it's one or the other. We got to see it at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. And they can pick those up at the captain's meetings.
Yeah, but like some folks have their own. You know what I mean? So every year they come up during the captain's meetings. They come to a representative of the tournament. We look at it. We certify it. We actually have a card, gets photographed, logged into our spreadsheet, and that way we know what you got.
Right, trying to keep everything on the up and up.
Yeah, man. And sometimes people lose stuff. You know, you get the guy's like, oh man, we lost our measuring board overboard this morning. What do I do? Okay, well, we'll give you the Tangier Classic.
Yeah.
Our actual measuring stick, but
yeah, we've also had situations where people caught a fish larger than our 48-inch stick, and used a supplemental device.
Correct.
And we recommend you get a supplemental device approved beforehand if you're targeting these larger species, or we have after the fact checked them against ours to make sure, and made adjustments to their measurements if needed. So
yeah. Well, look, at the end of the day, it's like all the anglers should have a stake in that to say, hey, by coming to a captain's meeting, by getting all these things down, that is what's making the experience, right? So if you guys have to go out and kind of chase things down and try and
it could save your bucks. I mean, if you're out there and you catch a 52-inch red and you measure and there's we can't tell that this one butts up to this one, measuring devices that I'm referring to, it could get you disqualified or lose a lot of inches that we can't guarantee are there.
Yeah.
So it's really beneficial to be there so that you can see and hear us explain the best process if you find yourself in a situation like that. Mm-hmm. And obviously all this stuff is up in the About Us, and there's a rules section.
That whole drop down. Okay.
Yep.
And right in the rules.
Very wordy, but for good reason.
The information is there.
Yep. So...
And don't Congress.
And there's the captain's meeting, 7 p.m. We got that right, Adam.
Yeah, we did.
And
it's
Albert Street. That's it.
814 Albert Street.
So and there's a tournament schedule, and pretty much everything that you could need is on there. Obviously, people read things differently than others sometimes. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We have some people that ask us questions. You can always count on. There's a couple people to ask us questions each year. But no, it's good that they ask, because I'd rather them go into the tournament knowing exactly what they can do and be perfectly clear than end up having an issue. So
yeah, no, right on. So in looking at this, it sees lines in at 6:30, and then when do they have to lines out there at 5? So man, you got a long day.
You got all day.
Oh, yeah.
You got all day.
Be doing what you want to do.
So the other cool thing there, the judging table. So just for reference here, for anybody that's going to be fishing the tournament, this is something else we offer. Although we are a catch photo tournament, which you at that point can decide to release your fish, or if it's it's a legal fish to keep at that time, go for it. Up to you totally. But we will measure fish in person, and we do have a judging table all 3 days at the American Legion. And this is also one of these things. So let's say, for example, now it wouldn't work in the case of the 50-inch red, because I don't want you bringing that up from
don't do that.
But yeah, I mean, so let's say, for example, somebody does halfway through the morning drop their brand new aluminum fish measuring device overboard, and they had a nice keeper rockfish.
Or maybe they have a flip phone, or their phone got stepped on and broke, and they were the only one on the boat, or any number of reasons. You're not done. You don't have to go home.
Right.
You can, if
still
the fish
push through.
If your
it's
fish
a legal fish to harvest, we can measure.
Yeah, don't bring up fish that aren't legal.
We don't want to see that.
Yeah.
So.
No, absolutely. Well, cool. So that kind of shows everybody. I've been throwing up here on the screen so people can actually see a little bit closer here. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's going to be much more interactive than just hearing this. Yeah. But as we're looking at these rules and the website, I want to pull up here. Tell me first, before we get into talking about the beneficiary this year, about why the picture set up for registering fish. Obviously, that's a kind of change for people that maybe haven't been a part of that.
Yeah.
What's the
So
take
again,
behind that?
it allows us to include species like the
Yeah.
bull reds and the cobia that are out of season.
It gives people the ability that don't necessarily want to harvest all those species.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, because some of these tournaments you go to and you see how many fish are brought in there and brought to the scales, and there's no chance, that they're gonna place or win or anything, and it's just a lot of fish. You get a couple hundred anglers fishing in one area, and that's one thing about ours is we are open to the entire Chesapeake and its tributaries, so we are spread out a lot more than a lot of tournaments. But
Sure.
some of these other tournaments are kind of condensed, and they got 400 or 500 anglers, and they're really putting a hurting
yeah.
on
At one
the
time.
local fisheries in a short amount of time. And we are conservation minded. We all keep fish.
Yeah.
We're not against keeping fish or anything like that, but we like to think that we are doing our part to make sure that we aren't hurting an area pretty hard.
Well, you have to think about impact. Like
Yeah.
if you're doing something on that scale, you have to think about impact. And
Yep.
Yeah.
there's going to be people that want to go home and enjoy that fish
Sure.
on their plate, and there's going to be others that just want the experience. And
And you can still do both at the same time in our tournament too.
Right.
Really, I mean, over
Oh,
a
yeah.
2-day period, if it's just you and the wife, and you want to take home one good rockfish on Saturday, and then Sunday you're like, well, I'm gonna put one in my stringer photo, but he's going back, or she's going back. But
I think a lot of it just it honestly probably the biggest thing is being able to include those other
All
species
those
because
species,
it makes it
yeah.
more interesting.
that makes sense.
yeah,
It's not many tournaments that are allowing that kind of stuff. So, we have a I don't know what the word is. Been a long day.
Hybrid.
But yeah,
Hybrid.
yeah. So it's just neat to be able to have something different.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, without a doubt. Cool. Well, a big important thing that I want you guys to be able to hit on is this beneficiary
man.
this year, man. I know the past few years, what you guys have raised has gone to help some families in some pretty tremendous ways. And from what I can tell from social media and things, it seems like that goes a long way to help those families and bring awareness to these different just horrible things that children are dealing with. So if you would just take a minute to kind of talk about this year, I can pull it up on the screen here. Some of the
Yeah, I think there's a
is this the
there she
where
is.
we're gonna be? Yeah, man. If you guys would just share a little bit about
So,
your situation.
this year is our beneficiary is Lakeland Draheim. I think she just turned 5, if I'm not mistaken. She has a rare form of brain cancer called DIPG. It's a brain stem cancer,
Yeah.
very aggressive, non-operable. It's ugly.
Yeah.
It really is. I don't know how anybody deals with it. It's got to be just incredibly hard. Her, the family. I mean, this was her. This top picture was her
Before.
not even a year ago.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure exactly when that picture was taken, but that's how she looked a little over a year ago, or a little under a year ago, and now I mean it's almost unrecognizable. It's really made a huge difference. She's having a hard time speaking right now, and eating's difficult. She actually is doing slightly better than she had been for a brief amount of time. That she's on a new trial. She's had a few treatments, and I think it's definitely helped out. But it's a roller coaster. They're at Baltimore.
Yeah, all the time.
I would
And
say
they
once a
never
week at
know
least.
when it's going to drop, and they got to go again. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Yep.
the I think the most heart wrenching story for me when we talked to her mom, was the coming off the school bus that day.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap!
Yep. They sent her to school fine.
Fine as wine,
She came home drooling.
slurring her speech.
Yep, slurring her speech, and they basically took her to the hospital thinking maybe a seizure or something like that.
Yeah.
And they
Just like that.
within hours diagnosed her with some sort of cancer, and they sent her straight to Johns Hopkins. And I think within hours or days or whatever, they knew precisely what was going on, and it's been rough.
Oh man,
I think both parents were educators in Worcester County. I think Lance, the father, is still maybe part-time, and the mom had completely stopped working. Lakeland actually is in school.
Yeah, she was able to go to a kindergarten.
Yeah, so
Or is it
I'm not.
kindergarten?
I don't
so.
think it's every
Kindergarten, first
day.
grade. But no, not every day. But
I think it's kindergarten. I don't think it's every day, and her mom I think does go with her, but she is at least back in school around people she knows and things like that. So.
and you see the smile on her face, man, when when her mom posts for her, like it's that first day she was able to go to school, man. I mean, you see the smile on the girl's face, man. I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
She,
No, it should be a perspective changer
Yeah.
for us all.
Oh,
man,
yeah,
and
for sure.
Just, even the time set aside for the folks that get to come out next weekend.
No doubt,
It's like
no doubt.
You got to appreciate every minute.
No doubt.
With your family and loved ones. But yeah, man, it's. I mean, you guys have your whole history of the tournament is rooted in helping families.
Yeah, it was a tough decision this year. We had several candidates, and they were all, it was hard. That process is unfortunately it's difficult. But we try to pick the beneficiary that we think can utilize it the most, and some of these none of these treatments that are able to help her at all are covered by insurance. They're all trial based, which none of the trials are covered. So some of them, I don't know what the current one is, but I know some of them were in excess of $300,000, and not including the many trips.
Oh yeah, and wasn't one out in California?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
At one time they thought they might have to move to California for like 6 months or something like that. I mean, there's a lot. They offer Ronald McDonald housing and stuff like that, but it's not always got availability.
Right.
In that case, there is discounted hotel rooms, but it's still not cheap.
No.
Just the tolls alone will really rack up when you're going as much as they are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and every dollar, you're just going to lessen impact. You can't take the pain away, but you're just everybody out there, and that's one thing I know. Last year, a couple people reached out to me, and I hope it's the same this year. Where if people are just hearing the story, and Tangier Classic's here to help them, but make sure if there's people out there that know information for this family or have funds that can divert to, I'm sure there's lots of ways they can get money to this family.
We do have a donation page on the website. I'm not sure if it's on the app or not, but I know it's on the website. I don't remember.
Yeah, they're donate.
Yep, donate right there in the middle. Yep.
Yeah,
Right
top center.
Okay,
Yep.
awesome.
Yep, so that's all electronic as well, super easy. And then I'm sure that they also have their own pages set up if you prefer to go that route.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure.
But anything that's donated through that avenue is directly to them, completely 100% set aside. It's not used for any expenses or anything like that. So we obviously welcome donations, and we do get quite a few through that. But we try to help as much as we can. And this, like you said, this is our 4th year coming in now. And in 3 years, I think we were 107,000 donated between our beneficiaries and some of the other nonprofits that most of it's to the beneficiary, but we obviously try to help out the people that help us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
As you should. Yeah. No, that's good. No, even sitting hearing about it all and kind of walking through it, it's like it's very well thought out. Your team that you guys have put together is obviously putting in a tremendous amount of work to this. It's that I said it earlier, that high production value of that. To create an experience like that, you have to take the time on the front end, which you guys clearly do, and it shows.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That's pretty phenomenal in and of itself. Well, before we wrap things up, we haven't necessarily specifically talked about it. How does the guy that's out there fishing, they catch some fish and put it up, send their pictures in. How's the purse work?
Oh, yeah. So
I should have done it before we did this. She's giving me an update tonight.
Oh, okay.
Money. That's right, on dollars in, and it's only gonna grow. It's only gonna grow from there.
Yeah. I know. We did an update. So, like I said, we changed things from individual to team, and it really wasn't a goal of ours, but it seems to be kind of bumping the money up.
It is.
Okay.
Just based, before I think people were having one person on the boat enter Calcutta, and they were kind of pushing the fish their way to submit, which was, we didn't have any rules against it. But where it's a team now, it's just a flat rate for everybody on the boat one time, and it seems to be increasing the amounts.
Good.
I think last time we looked, it was like 14,000 in winnings, and that was halfway through. And honestly, we get probably at least a third of our registrations come during captain's meetings.
Right.
Okay.
So, and that was also a week ago. So it should be pretty good this year.
Yeah.
The general entry is probably going to be similar, but the Calcuttas are definitely inflated. I should have done that before this. I didn't think about
okay.
it.
It's going to
Go
up
to the
by the time
website,
this
take a
thing
look.
drops.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it's
And
going to go up by the
Yeah, and
time
as
it
we get
drops.
through the week of our captain's meetings, typically always post that update of where we are with the monies.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
usually starting like I'm gonna do an update tomorrow. It's a week out, and then I'll start doing it if not daily,
Yeah,
every other day at
day.
least.
So
But usually it's every day.
If in general category, if someone's not in the Calcuttas, is it what's the payout for? Is it largest? Is it
Yep.
heaviest?
So it's
Is
a 5-fish stringer, of
Okay.
which 13 or some odd species can work. We don't allow the cobia or the over slot size reds or black drum in the 5-fish stringer, but everything else is good. And it's basically
For 2 days.
over 2 days. So you can upgrade your stringer. So you catch 5 fish a day. You can replace every one of them the second day of fishing.
Okay.
It's no more than 3 of any one species can contribute to that stringer, and that's total over the 2 days.
Yeah.
So to fill your stringer, you're gonna at least have to catch 2 different species. So it is actually a little less challenging than it used to be. I think last year to fill your stringer, you'd probably have to be. Well, that's not true. You could have a 5-fish stringer of one individual species that
You
you're
could
allowed
have
to keep
last year,
5.
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah.
But for the most part, people are going to catch rockfish, trout, and things like that. And you can't catch 5 trout. You can't catch 5 rockfish. You can't catch 5 drum. So it makes it a little bit more challenging. But yeah, it's a 5-fish stringer, no more than 3 of any one species, and it's first through third, longest stringer.
Yeah.
First through third. So it's. I don't know. I think last time we looked, it was like
payouts-
$900 for first place.
Yeah, it should be from last year. There should be pictures.
Oh, yeah.
Last year's winners. Let me think. Go to photos.
Yep.
And you go to last year's winners, 2022. And, of course, there's Owen. That was our beneficiary last year. And, there you go. Get down here to these, Steve. And
I think that's it.
that
right
was
there.
the money
that
shot.
was the-
That's it.
Let me throw
Boom.
it up on the screen here.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, it keeps switching on me here. No worries. We'll get it right.
We'll see a whole
There
bunch
it
of
is.
people win money. There you go, buddy. Yeah, total prize money, $28,540.
Nice.
But,
Yeah.
you had $2,600 and some odd dollars for first place in the powerboat. It splits 50 with the kayaks, obviously, and then your
And obviously that's last year. Things have been a little different this year. I think it's because the way we changed registration. I think people are hanging back and building their team before they register because they got to have all the money together,
Okay.
rather than each person just kind of did their own thing. So I think we're going to get hit hard on, unfortunately, at the captain's meetings. But it is what it is.
Work through it.
Yep. Yeah,
Work through
we'll
it.
be good. I've gotten a lot of calls and emails and
Yeah.
and messages, people inquiring about how to register and what's different, and they're starting to come out of the woodwork now. So
Good deal, man.
yep, right on time.
Well, and we're looking at the website that we've been putting up for everybody, but there is an app too.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
That's available both
Yep.
for Android devices and Apple devices.
Mm-hmm.
And that I'm guessing is just a condensed version. quicker
It
to
looks
read through.
almost identical,
Yeah, it
really.
does.
Okay.
But it's seamless with everything else.
Awesome.
Declaring lay days, submitting fish, all your rules, your tides, your weather, everything.
I think the only thing that is better on the website is probably merch.
Yeah.
Their
Okay.
pictures. I don't think we could get pictures on the app. But yeah,
Other
than
talk
that,
about the merch too, man.
yeah.
You got it up here on the store.
Tangier
Should,
Classic
yep.
hashtag
Yeah, here we
Tangier
go.
Classic swag.
Yep. So
Look at all
that's
this.
our OG hat there. I've had that. That's been every year. So
We
keep
brought you a
saying,
hat too, man.
I know, man.
Yeah.
I should rock it. Actually, we got to talk about that.
Yeah, we do need to talk
Where's
about that.
I'm connected here. I'm creating some issues. So, let me lean over here.
Yeah, some good looking
Yeah,
swag, man.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff up there. Yeah, talk about this hat. Let me switch this around so everybody can see here.
so we're all pretty big supporters of law enforcement, fire, EMS, military, all of it. And obviously, in our local area, we've been hit pretty good by some law enforcement officers, and it was kind of the driving force behind coming up with a hat that paid respect. We have some firemen in our group, and we wanted to pay respect to, law enforcement and fire EMS. And obviously, our design is a bunch of thin lines, and we kind of came up with a couple and threw it out there on a pole, and that was the winner. So
Yeah, no, it's a slick looking hat this year, and
I think we like to think
some
that
meaning behind it.
Yeah, I know some people like the thin straight lines, but we feel that kind of shows that we stand with those causes, I guess would be the word.
Yep.
So kind of incorporate the two.
Yeah. So hey, you guys got it all figured out, man. I like it.
Trying.
I like it. Until you don't, and then you got to figure something
we're
else
keeping
out.
improving it all the time. We're gonna try.
Yep. So we got some sweatshirts this year, and people had asked about a shirt without sponsors on it, just our logo. So we added one of those. I think that's all the new stuff. And then we have our original hat, the one we introduced last year, which would be the olive drab, and then our obviously our shirt that updates every year with the sponsors.
Yep.
So.
And then 2023, executive ties and bathing suits.
Oh man,
We're getting ready. We'll see how it plays. We'll see how it plays.
That's gonna be good. No, I like
Yeah,
it. Well,
we try to update a little bit every year. So.
yeah. Well, I mean, my goal always when we get together with you guys is I feel like this is pretty comprehensive tonight to just go through kind of what this thing is all about, because it's definitely becoming a movement here on the shore where people are looking forward to this experience here in the fall. It's definitely, I know when I have conversations with people, they're like, yeah, man, that's definitely something we do and we're looking forward to, and it's something that's being set apart, I think, from other events that go on here on the shore. That's not happening in Ocean City, right? Because Ocean City is kind of like that's where everything happens, no matter what it is. And it's like, hey, man, to draw some attention down to Crisfield and all the heritage down there for the shore, and that's pretty special in and of itself. But I'll kind of dump it on to you guys here, man. Just closing thoughts here as we're a week away. What can you send everybody off with for the Tangier Classic?
If you fish the tournament, if you donate, if you sponsor, simply just showing up and fishing, just buying an entry is contributing towards Lakeland's donation. You don't have to be involved in some big way. It all contributes. It's all a part of it. So please come out and fish. If you don't fish, come out to our party on Saturday night, the 24th, American Legion, or also the 23rd for our cornhole tournament. We donate half of that back as well. So there's just so many ways that you can get involved. Whether you fish or not, just bring the family down. It's $15 for a dinner ticket, chicken, barbecue pork, and all the fixings to go with it.
Can't beat it.
There you go. Dinner's planned.
Lots of auctions and raffles, and we've got, I don't even know,
Buddy,
15 fishing and hunting trips to auction off.
for real. Big ones too. Nice. I mean.
Yep. So destination type stuff. So please. Fish, don't fish, whatever. Come support Lakeland.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about. So.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. He said it, man. and I'm going to tell you, you made the mention of Crisfield. There's something extremely beautiful, important, and special about Crisfield. The American Legion is the best sunset you will see in the state of Maryland.
And you can't beat it when you got Carly Twig live in front of the sunset.
Sunset coming right down.
Man.
Got it straight up. And, honest to God, if you've never fished a tournament before, this is the one to do it. Because if you never put your boat in the water, I can guarantee you will have a good time. And it'll be an unforgettable experience. And that's what we
vendors,
want
too. We got vendors.
Oh, yeah. We got vendors, too.
We try to hit all the
stuff. We're the White Marlin Open of the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
That's not my words. We have been called that. So.
CL Marshall, he likes to chime in and say that every once in a while. So we'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I got a bunch of shirts here that you guys can hand out.
They're gonna go.
We'll set them right up there and take them, hand them out.
Cool.
A little side bet or something for somebody.
Heck yeah, man.
Let them enjoy some shirts. We'll send it on.
So we'll just throw it out there right now. Last year we went around and anybody that was not anybody, but we looked for people that were wearing the Owen Strong bracelet. So this year we're giving out Lakeland Strong bracelets. and we're gonna keep an eye out, see who's wearing them. You might just all you gotta do is wear it. You might get something for it.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's
I
cool.
think people got some sunglasses last year for wearing it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Seeing that support out there and all those little nuances in events are definitely what make them fun. So cool, man. I thank you guys
Yeah,
for.
man.
Oh, I know it's
Thank
chaotic right now getting
Yeah.
ready for this thing, but taking this time out, I'm gonna push this show out. So when everybody's hearing this, you're gonna only have a couple days, and it's okay to register next week,
Sure.
just because
yeah.
the captains' meetings are starting.
And even with the captain's meeting starting, if you get the intuition at 1:00 in the afternoon on Monday, you can still do it online.
I think registration closes at 7 p.m. on Thursday.
So you got time from the
Yeah.
moment you're
Sure.
hearing this.
Basically,
you
got
got
an hour
time.
or got a week from right now.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, now.
Hurry
up.
from
All the time in the world.
That's true from filming it. Yep. Keep
So-
forgetting that part. But
so-
yeah, a week from today, Thursday, it's shut down.
There you go.
But got plenty of time. So
Good deal, man.
Weather's getting right. It's going to be on point. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah, September, man. There's something
you better
special.
knock on some wood.
I know, I like it. So, well, thank you guys, man. This has been a good time. Just hearing about it again this year. Good to meet you, Adam. Finally,
man.
I've been
Absolutely,
seeing
buddy.
all your work in this, and so I'm glad you guys were able to take time to be here. So,
doubt.
we'll get it pushed out, and whatever the show can do to help get the word out. That's
Appreciate it.
I love being able to help organizations around here on the shore. So cool, man.
Cool.
Well, with that, we'll end it, and we'll look for a report to come back. So
Sounds good.
everybody,
Yes, sir.
make sure you're checking out the website for any updates. I'm sure if there are updates, they'll come out.
Yeah,
through
usually
that.
there's a banner up top with any
Okay.
kind of important
They can
announcements.
just run something probably
Yep.
where that yellow strip is up there, maybe,
Yep,
or
right on
somewhere
the-
around there.
Yep, there you go.
So, just constantly go back there as we're getting closer, and I'm sure there's a contact information up there if somebody does have specific questions that you can reach out. Man.
Yeah, and you
But-
can send us an email at tangierclassic@gmail.com or give us a call. It's my number, 410-430-0028.
Right
Or
on.
hit us with a message on Facebook, too, directly
Yep.
to our...
Lots of
Tangier
ways.
Classic.
And for Facebook, is it Tangier Classic? You can just search that and find it, or is it something specific?
I think it's Tangier Classic Fishing
Fishing
Tournament.
tournament.
Fishing tournament. Okay, and you're on Instagram as well.
Okay. We are less active. Just it's a lot.
Social media.
Yeah,
come on,
it's a lot going on. So
Adam, you got a
We're
TikTok?
taking over TikTok
Come
next
on,
year,
all right,
bro.
all right.
With the bathing suit line, the TikTok will come into... Yeah.
Stand by.
Yeah, stand by.
Stand
Yeah.
by.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. Cool. Well, with that, man, we'll shut it down and look forward to hearing from you guys and how things go. So thanks a
brother.
lot.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Thank you.